So before launching into all of this, I want to say up front, because I know there will be some incurious people trying to argue in bad faith, because there always are when I make a video like this. I want to say I am not defending Hasbro. I am not even championing Hasbro. Honestly, at this point, I want to see Hasbro as an entity wiped off the face of the earth. And I would love to see the guy in charge, Chris Cox, face consequences for the bad decisions that he's made and never ever work any job ever again. So yeah, not defending Hasbro, but I do feel like we all really need to be a little bit more realistic about Metal Cardbot. I'm not trying to call anyone out specifically, because enthusiasm is understandable. These figures are, by and large, fantastic, and they are leaps and bounds above anything that Hasbro, and in a lot of cases, especially lately, even Takara, has been putting out. But they are expensive. They are, aside from the very first wave, which is being distributed now in the US by Agabus, I don't know how you pronounce it, but that site. Outside of that first wave, they don't have a footprint at all in the US in terms of, like, you can't just go online or go to a store and buy it in the US. You have to import it. So when I see people getting really excited and saying how, like, oh, Transformers has some competition, or this is going to be, the Transformers killer or the Hasbro killer or whatever, it's just like, no, it's not. To be clear, I wish it were. I wish Hasbro was sweating collectively as an entity about all of this stuff, but I just don't see that happening right now. This is a country that values nostalgia more than human lives. I wish I were being hyperbolic about that. So a 40-plus year franchise that has had a foothold in the US ever since that 40-plus years, it's not going to be easy for something like this to just pop up on US shores and take over. Even if distribution started to be better, you got to look at this from like a purely cultural wide, like pop culture wide sort of thing. And the average person who's going to go to a toy store or other type of store or website that would like carry toys like these, those places are probably also going to carry Transformers. And if they're looking for something for themselves or for someone who's into Transformers but maybe doesn't know that these exist at all, they're not going to get these. They're going to get the thing that's recognizable or that they think is recognizable. Okay, bye. I haven't worked in retail for a very long time, but I used to work in a GameStop, and when I worked at GameStop, it was that recognition that the average person went for. You, of course, have the people who pay a little bit more attention to like the nuances, who actually look at things like obscure titles or franchises, or in this case, figures, and they find that stuff exciting, which is great. But they're not the average. The average person is not going to be, like, by and large, is not going to be grabbing some random Metal Cardbot figure, no matter how fantastic it looks and is priced, when there's that, tried and true, old reliable Transformers right there next to them. And then there is also that factor of cost. Now, I know, in terms of, like, overall value, there's no arguing that Metal Cardbot figures blow the official, these are official too, you know what I mean. These blow Transformers out of the water. They're huge, they're mostly sturdy, which I say because of some of the QC stuff that's been happening with some of these figures. A great value for what you get compared to what you're getting with like the Hasbro stuff, but that's if you look at it in a vacuum without having to deal with actually getting it delivered to you. And that's going back to the Agabus, whatever distribution, where, yeah, you've got that first season, but like all of the other stuff, which, let's be honest, the first season of Hello Carbot's toys weren't great. There were some winners there. I love Black Hook, who's called Steel Hook for the US, and Heavy Iron, who I forget what Heavy Iron's US name is. and Fleta Z, also don't know what that name ended up being changed to, if at all. Those are all great. But they're also, they don't really hold a candle to the later stuff. Like, Tacky is incredible. Night Griffin is incredible. Those are great, but those are so many seasons separated from that first season that we're getting in the US, which means unless that distribution picks up significantly, which is probably only going to happen if a bunch of people buy that first wave a lot, and who knows if that'll meet expectations, what with the whole Transformer thing we already talked about. But like, it's probably going to take them a while to get to the absolute peak that we have right now. Anyone who might want to get these really incredible figures that absolutely trounce Transformers in every way imaginable would have to pay $30, $40, $50 in shipping and other fees to make that happen, and that's a huge deterrent. Just from the perspective of someone who loves this stuff and tries to collect a lot of it, that's a deterrent for me too. So I can only imagine someone who's not as invested in it as I am, like emotionally speaking, they could see that shipping price and just be like, They could just grab a regular Transformer like off the shelves or from Amazon or Big Bad Toy Store or wherever, and it'd be cheaper, even if the figure itself costs the same or more than one of these. You add that shipping on top of it, and then suddenly it's not as direct a comparison. People are not wrong for being excited about Metal Cardbot. Metal Cardbot is great. The toys are fantastic. They are not wrong for wanting this to eclipse Hasbro, whether it's because they want it to be the incentive for Hasbro to step up its game or because they want it to wipe Hasbro off the map. That is not wrong, it's just not realistic. Not right now. Yeah, it's just something to consider. Absolutely be excited about Metal Cardbots. Heck, get more. Agibus, Agabus, whatever, is selling Metal Cardbot figures as a US distributor off their website. You can also get them on Amazon, though I would say go with the other site preferably over Amazon because of obvious, because it's Amazon. But point is, if you support it financially, then that gives them the incentive, hopefully, to keep going, in which case we'll start getting the really good stuff, and then the import fees start to become less of a problem, and then it becomes much more of a possible competition for Transformers. But where it's at right now, I just don't see that happening. Fingers crossed, though, that it gets better.